The Memphite Theology, Ancient Egyptian Literature, Volume 1, The Old and Middle Kingdoms, Merriam-Webster. This text is coming from the Shabaka stone, which is in the British Museum, number 498. The text is carved on a rectangular slab of black granite which measures 92 by 137 centimeters. It consists of two horizontal lines written at the top across the entire width of the stone and 62 columns which begin on the left side. As shown by its introduction, the text was copied onto the stone by an order of King Shabaka of the 25th dynasty around 710 BCE, because the original, written on papyrus or leather, was found to be worm-eaten. The text is a work of the Old Kingdom, but its precise date is not known. The language is archaic and resembles that of the pyramid text. The living Heru, who prospers the two lands, the two ladies, who prospers the two lands, the golden Heru, who prospers the two lands, the king of Upper and Lower Kemet, Neferkare, the son of Re, Shabaka, beloved of Ptah south of his wall, who lives like Re forever. This writing was copied out anew by His Majesty in the house of his father Ptah south of his wall, for His Majesty found it to be a work of the ancestors which was worm-eaten, so that it could not be understood from beginning to end. His Majesty copied it anew, so that it became better than it had been before, in order that his name might endure and his monument last in the house of his father Ptah south of his wall throughout eternity, as a work done by the son of Re, Shabaka, for his father Ptah Tatinen, so that he might live forever. King of Upper and Lower Kemet is this Ptah, who is called by the great name Tatinen, south of his wall, Lord of eternity. The joiner of Upper and Lower Kemet is he, the uniter who arose as king of Upper Kemet, and arose as king of Lower Kemet, self-begotten, so says Atum, who created the 9 gods. Geb, Lord of the gods, commanded that the 9 gods gathered to him. He judged between Horus and Set. He ended their quarrel. He made Set king of Upper Kemet and the land of Upper Kemet, up to the place in which he was born, which is Su. And Geb made Heru king of Lower Kemet and the land of Lower Kemet, up to the place in which his father was drowned, which is the vision of the two lands. Thus Heru stood over one region and Set stood over one region. They made peace over the two lands at Ayan. That was the division of the two lands. Geb's words to Set: Go to the place in which you were born, Set, Upper Kemet. Geb's words to Heru: Go to the place in which your father was drowned, Heru, Lower Kemet. Geb's words to Heru and Set: I have separated you, Lower and Upper Kemet. Then it seemed wrong to Geb that the portion of Heru was like the portion of Set. So Geb gave to Heru his inheritance, for he is the son of his firstborn son. Geb's words to the 9 gods: I have appointed Heru the firstborn. Geb's words to the 9 gods: Him alone, Heru, the inheritance. Geb's words to the 9 gods: To this heir, Heru, my inheritance. Geb's words to the 9 gods: To the son of my son, Heru, the jackal of Upper Kemet. Geb's words to the 9 gods: The firstborn, Heru, the opener of the ways. Geb's words to the 9 gods: The son who was born, Heru, on the birthday of the opener of the ways. Then Heru stood over the land. He is the uniter of this land, proclaimed in the great name, Tatinian, south of his wall, Lord of eternity. Then sprouted the 2 great magicians upon his head. He is Heru, who arose as king of Upper and Lower Kemet, who united the 2 lands in the nome of the wall, the place in which the 2 lands were united. Reed and papyrus were placed on the double door of the house of Ptah. That means Heru and Set pacified and united. They fraternized so as to cease quarreling in whatever place they might be, being united in the house of Ptah, the balance of the 2 lands in which Upper and Lower Kemet had been weighed. This is the land, the burial of Asar in the house of Sokar, Aset and Nephthys without delay. The Asar had drowned in his water. Aset and Nephthys looked out, beheld him and attended to him. Heru speaks to Aset and Nephthys. Hurry, grasp him. Aset and Nephthys speak to Asar. We come, we take you. They heeded in time, and brought him to land. He entered the hidden portals of the glory of the Lords of eternity. Thus Asar came into the earth at the royal fortress at the north of the land to which he had come. And this son, Heru, arose as king of Upper Kemet, arose as king of Lower Kemet, in the embrace of his father Asar and of the gods in front of him and behind him. There was built the royal fortress at the command of Geb. Geb speaks to Tahudi. Geb speaks to Tahudi. Geb speaks to Aset. Aset causes Heru and Set to come. Aset speaks to Heru and Set. Come. Aset speaks to Heru and Set. Make peace. Aset speaks to Heru and Set. Life will be pleasant for you. Aset speaks to Heru and Set. It is he who dries your tears. The gods who came into being in Ptah, Ptah on the great throne, Ptah Nun, the father who made Atum, Ptah Nunet, the mother who bore Atum, Ptah the great is heart and tongue of the 9 gods. There took shape in the heart, there took shape on the tongue the form of Atum, from the very great one is Ptah, who gave life to all the gods and their gods through his heart and through his tongue, in which Heru has taken shape as Ptah, in which Tahudi had taken shape as Ptah. Thus heart and tongue rule over all the limbs in accordance with the teaching that it is in every body and in the tongue, or he Ptah is in every mouth of all gods, all men, all cattle, all creeping things, whatever lies, thinking whatever it or he wishes, and commanding whatever it or he wishes. His Ptah's need is before him as teeth and lips. They are the semen in the hands of Atum, for the need of Atum came into being through his semen and his fingers. But their need is the teeth and his lips and his mouth, which pronounce the name of everything, from which Shu and Tefnut came forth, which gave birth to the need. Sight, hearing, breathing, they report to the heart, and it makes every understanding come forth, as is the tongue. It repeats what the heart has devised. Thus all the gods were born, and his need was completed. For every word of the God came about through what the heart devised and the tongue commanded. Thus all the facilities were made, and all the qualities determined, that they make all foods and all provisions through his word. Thus justice is done to him who does what is loved, and punishment to him who does what is hated. Thus life is given to the peaceful, death is given to the criminal. Thus all labor, all crafts are made, the actions of the hands, the motions of the legs, the movements of all the limbs, according to this command which is devised by the heart, and comes forth on the tongue and creatures, the performance of everything. Thus it is said of Ptah, he who made all and created the gods, and he is Tattanin, who gave birth to the gods, and from whom everything came forth, foods, provisions, divine offerings, all good things. Thus it is recognized and understood that he is the mightiest of the gods. Thus Ptah was satisfied after he had made all things in divine words. He gave birth to the gods, he made the towns, he established the nomes. He placed the gods in their shrines, he settled their offerings, he established their shrines, he made their bodies according to their wishes. Thus the gods entered into their bodies, of every wood, every stone, every clay, everything that grows upon him, in which they came to be. Thus were gathered to him all the gods and their gods, content, united with the Lord of the 2 lands. Isis and Nephthys looked out, beheld him, and attended to him. Horus quickly commanded Isis and Nephthys to grab Asar and prevent his drowning, i.e. his submersion. They heeded in time and brought him to land. He entered the hidden portals in the glory of the Lords of eternity, in the steps of him who rises in the horizon, in the ways of Re at the great throne. He entered the palace and joined the gods of Tattani and Ptah, Lord of years. Thus Asar came into the earth at the royal fortress to the north of the land to which he had come. His son Heru arose as king of Upper Kemet, arose as king of Lower Kemet, in the embrace of his father Asar and of the gods in front of him and behind him. If you have time, visit my website. I am an author. I wrote a book, not a book on history. It is an urban fiction novel entitled Suicide Note. You can get the first 4 chapters for free to get a feel for the book, to see if you like it. Just go to the website and send your information with a request for it, and I'll send it right over to you. And you can actually purchase the entire book, the ebook version of my book Suicide Note, for only $3 just by going to the website.